Hello again. If you're new to the channel, hello, welcome. I am Jess. I'm a freelance illustrator in Austin, Texas, and every Friday I take to the internets to ramble about building a business as a freelance illustrator. And if you have been here before, welcome back. You guys are all awesome. So today's topic is actually a recommendation that came from a comment this week. Let me read it to you. I thought it was a pretty good one, and it was most welcome because I didn't know what to talk about. Okay, would love to hear more about your very first steps, like portfolio, self-promotion, how to break the ice in terms of first projects, paperwork, etc. Thank you and have a lovely day. So yeah, I thought let's take it from the top and start with portfolio. So for some reason, portfolio is kind of a loaded topic for me. I have mixed feelings about developing a portfolio, and this is why. I still don't even think that I have one. And I think that the idea of a portfolio in some ways can push you forward and be a motivator to create like bigger and better work. But also in a lot of ways it can hold you back because you can like not go for opportunities or not think you're ready to work with clients, etc., because you don't have one in your opinion. Actually, let's start from the way top. I was a kid. I did art all the time as a kid. As a kid, I completely owned the identity of an artist, and that was great. Fast forward a while to 2 years ago, when I moved from New York, where I had my career in advertising, to Ohio for a job, a great job. And that was around the time that I realized that I actually wanted to be an illustrator when I grew up. So when I moved to Ohio, I didn't really know anyone there. I did make some friends, but I didn't really have like as much of a social thing going on as I did in New York, which I thought was really a benefit. So I spent those 2 years just kind of really developing my style. I did a couple of focused projects, which I found really helpful. So I did a floral February project where I drew like a different sort of floral arrangement every day in February. But other than that, I was all over the place, you know, like I drew my breakfast, I drew like little cartoons, I drew dragons, I drew fruit. Yes. So I quit my corporate job a few months ago. And in my mind, I did not have a portfolio. I had done a couple of projects for some small clients and some friends. But other than that, I was very much in the mindset of, okay, like now I have to build an entire portfolio from scratch before I can do anything. And interestingly, what ended up happening was I did a project called Mr. Top Loftical, which was a pitch for a children's book with a collaborator writer, and sent it off to a number of agents as a PDF. And funnily enough, even though I wasn't thinking about that like as a portfolio at all, it ended up being the most effective portfolio I've ever had. Because off of the back of that, one of the agents contacted me and asked if I was looking for representation. I really hadn't been focused on developing a cohesive portfolio, but I made one strong project, or at least, you know, she liked the project I put a lot of time into this project, a lot of thought into it, a lot of development around it, and that ended up working for this specific need, finding an agent. So my point here is, don't let the idea that you don't have a portfolio yet or that your portfolio isn't where you want it to be hold you back. Sometimes the most effective way of getting what you want is making it. Like setting a project for yourself, giving yourself a brief, like giving yourself some deadlines and making it. And so one of the toughest things about developing a portfolio is figuring out what the hell to draw, which is the benefit of going to university, because you get assignments, and through those assignments you end up developing a portfolio. But if you're not in university, like I'm not and a number of us aren't, I recommend giving yourself an assignment. So after I got my agent this summer, I went up to Colorado really to have like a space where I could get away, like a quiet creative spot, and just kind of work on putting together another picture book pitch and also developing my children's portfolio. Now that I had a children's agent, I knew that I wanted to build my business in that direction. Not exclusively, but that was one of the industries that I wanted to focus on. And I knew that I needed some work to get people comfortable with hiring me. So one of the assignments that I gave myself was this project called Veggie Vibes. It's basically the ABCs of veggies. So yeah, you get the point. It's kind of like to make veggies a little bit more fun for kids to want to eat them. So I took every veggie and like all of the letters of the alphabet. I had to cheat on some, like that's vegetable spaghetti. There's no V. There's no X either, so those are like pinto beans. But anyway, I gave myself this assignment, and now I have a piece both for my portfolio and like a product that I can sell whenever I'm ready to start selling stuff. So you get the point. Don't need to go through all of these. So a lot of my work in the past had been always started and ended with a black line. The work that I liked from other illustrators was much less constrained by the line. I love lines. I really do love lines. And I don't want to lose the lines, but I didn't want to always default to the line. So when I started developing Everything Wonderful, I did it with sort of one parameter, which is don't do the lines. And after that, it kind of opened me up to a new way of going about creating figures, I guess. And so this is the latest piece that I did for a calendar, a 2016 Dachshund Calendar. Very fun. And I've never done dogs before, and I actually found them really, really great. But you can see the similarity there between the penguins and this, and in that we're kind of moving away from the line. So that brings me to my last point about portfolios, which is a portfolio is not a stagnant thing. An artist's portfolio is like a living, breathing thing. And everyone's portfolio is constantly developing as you develop, as you evolve as a person, as your point of view evolves, as your work progresses, as the style, medium, everything is constantly evolving. And that's one of the things that makes it really hard to stick a pin in a point in time and say, this is exactly what my work is about. So I encourage you to think about your portfolio as something that can change every week if you want it to. Just like you, I think the most important thing is just getting something up there and then not looking back and not being constrained by what you already have up there. So if you have, like I did, if all of your work has black lines in it, and you don't want to do black lines anymore, just don't do them. Like, it is okay. Don't listen to what everyone says about constraints. It should be about experimentation, and it should be something that brings you joy and you don't get too harsh and judgmental about. The most important thing is just making stuff. Like, not judging what you make, but just continuing to make it. So, on that note, I am going to sign this episode off. And this is a really hard episode for me, for some reason, to do. And I think it's because I guess I had a lot of baggage around the idea of a portfolio, and I still do. But anyway, I do hope that you found it helpful to kind of go through what my portfolio journey has looked like. And if anyone else has any recommendations, do tell. I am definitely doing a brand 101 next week. So that is coming from me. As always, thank you so much for your words of encouragement and for tuning in. And I will see you again soon. TGIF. My fashion portfolio came in these little bite-sized collections. This is by no means how everyone does it. This is just how I did it. So they were all inspired by parts and pieces of my life. Looks like this. The story is, this woman is a diplomat and she holds all of these receptions, and it was really inspired by sort of a lot of the African Ndebele designs, actually, and the South African flag. It was definitely based on my time living in South Africa. Another little collection. So I've already told you guys that I really like grunge, but you might not have known how much I actually like grunge. Alright.